Alrighty guys, so a huge thank you to Mass because we now have even more lore about what took place that day when Alicia pretty much lost everyone in terms of the death of her father and guild, etc. We've also got the lore for Emma, which kind of connects everything together to where the original story is heading to when it comes to solo leveling. So keep in mind, this is an original story for Solo Leveling Arise. So we're going to get into the lore on how everything started, and then of course when it starts within the game, we'll get into it to where, we're in Korea, we're trying to find the murderer, and then so on. Also in the background I do have gameplay of, I've got like over an hour long, so in yesterday's video when I was doing the Igris fight, I threw some bloopers in there so you guys can see how badly I was raging. So that's pretty much that content that I'm putting up right now so you guys can see, of course. But I'll put the sheet up so you guys can see on the chapters for Alicia and Emma if you guys also want to read with me. But either way, let's dive on in. Let's see what's going on with this original story. So, the Ice Witch. This is Alicia's chapter. So, 3 years after the gates appeared in the world, a rich French man named Mateo Blanca awakened as an S-rank hunter. When the infinite usability of essence stones became known, guilds were no different from businesses. As a natural businessman, he saw his awakening as an opportunity and he immediately established a guild Estrella. He invested a large amount of money to scout skilled hunters. 2 years later, Estrella became the greatest guild in France. Okay, that confirms that they're from France. Cool. There were a lot of hardships, but Mateo Blanca did not stop his solo run. Following his philosophy of never hide but fight fairly, he showed off his power by participating in most of the raids himself. He and his guilds heard complaints and concerns about the way he monopolized essence stones from time to time, but he portrayed his hunters as heroes and put those complaints to rest. The citizens of France praised the hunters for putting their lives on the line to let them live in peace. But just like that, everything was going Mateo Blanco's way. A new star was finally born in Estrella. 5 years later, Mateo Blanco hinted he would be retiring and that his eldest daughter Alicia Blanca would replace him. He immediately proceeded to teach her how to run the guild and what to do to prevent other guilds from trying to overtake Estrella. The only thing left was turning Alicia Blanca into a new hero for the public. Alicia found public's attention overwhelming but felt that she had to step into the limelight. She was born Mateo Blanca's daughter and enjoyed the life he built, so she thought it was the only natural thing to do. That she paid its price. Awakened with magic type power, she was able to use ice magic and chill that was emitted from her fingertips and froze anything that threatened her. She possessed a celebrity quality that the public went crazy over. As expectations for Alicia grew, interest in her first raid did also. When she was fully ready, Alicia took her first step into the dungeon. It was a relatively low rank dungeon, so the raid went smoothly. Alicia and her party defeated the boss without difficulty and exited the gate very quickly. But the real start of the raid was just beginning. An unknown enemy started to attack Alicia and her party. The party was certain they killed the boss, and as evidence, the gate was getting ready to close. So Alicia didn't understand what was going on until she heard her father screaming her name. Matteo screamed for his daughter to run before the gate closed, but the tragedy unfolding in front of Alicia froze her in place. She knew the end was coming when she saw the enemy powerful fluid attacks. Alicia closed her eyes, clasped her shaking hands, and mumbled, "Please let me wake up from this dream." When she came to, Alicia couldn't believe her reality. The enemy that had been attacking her father was locked in a wall of ice, looking out with pain in his eyes. The enemy and all the others that have been with her, the casualties of that day, including a French hero Mateo Blanca, Alicia's childhood friend Matisse, whom she begged to join the raid, and the majority of the hunters in France's greatest guild Estrella. She was the only one to return alive, so no one believed anything she said. Instead, they condemned her for returning alone. Having ruined everything her father built, Alicia was given the nickname Ice Witch, and her whole life fell apart at the seams. She kept herself alive only because she had survived until she received unexpected news, a case just like the tragedy that day had occurred. She immediately looked up the article. The subject of the article was the enemy that took everything from her that day. The unknown suspect that was appearing in parts of Europe targeted raids of major guilds and appeared alone in dungeons after the raid was over to massacre every hunter before disappearing. The survivor Alicia now had a reason to live. The suspect was stuck in the ice wall that day, but if he had escaped from the ice wall and run away, if this was happening because he hadn't been finished properly, she's partially responsible. Find the suspect, get the truth, and judge him for the crimes. For the first time, she plans for herself. She waited until she met someone who could be her guide. Alicia followed the guild's plan precisely and returned the guild to its former glory. To step out of her father's shadow, she changed the guild's name from Estrella to Justicia. She tracked with the suspect, and as she waited, she became extremely anxious. But whenever it seemed like she may crumble from the pressure, her guild calmed her with sweet words. You'll finally be able to escape that day once your plan is complete. Alicia was able to stand again when she heard her guide's voice. She knew she would be able to put it all to an end. Okay, well there you go. That's Alicia's chapter. That's kind of how it all started, from when her dad created the #1 guild in France. It seems that there's more to it in terms of a certain assassin, a certain hunter targeting the top guilds. Why? Could be out of jealousy. Could be that maybe a top guild took everything from him, and now by that the top guilds have to now pay the price by, I guess, him. There's a lot of questions going through my head right now on what's going on, but yeah, it seems that he must have gotten out and is just continuing on targeting the top guilds. And now that Alicia has word about this, she's going out of her way to kind of get her answers, to understand why it happened to her guild, and again stop this perpetrator, stop this murderer. So okay, but she froze everyone. But then again, if the enemy was coming in with powerful hits, wouldn't that mean Alicia killed everyone because she froze everyone? Am I tripping? Isn't that what's being said here? Is Alicia the killer? Like, imagine if they did like a story where it kind of flips on us to be like, wait, Alicia's the killer all along. I don't know if you guys have seen any movies like that where it kind of like, yeah. Anyway, okay, cool. So that's Alicia's chapter. Interesting. So now we've got Emma's chapter, the shaky alliance. All right. Hunters live with death at their side. On that day 3 years ago, Emma's brother Mattis Laurent died in battle. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. This is getting good now. What the hell? She couldn't believe it. Emma had hoped that her brother might be alive as she stepped into a still open gate. Inside, she came face to face with someone unexpected. A man stuck in a thick ice wall. Oh my god. The hardened, unidentifiable man gave off an alienated feeling. Empty eyes, an emotionless expression. He was like a puppet, only able to move if controlled. Emma knew this wasn't a hunter or a magic beast. Mattis Laurent wasn't the one to fall easily, neither was a French hero Mateo Blanca. But that woman Alicia Blanca suppressed that man easily. Of course this was just Emma's one-sided argument, but things that couldn't be confirmed became truth. As she stepped out of the gate, Emma thought the man might somehow be connected to Alicia's Blanca. No, she was sure. Revenge is a dish best served cold. She thought of a saying she once heard as she silently planned her revenge. From that day forward, Emma buried herself trying to find news of that woman. Alicia Blanca didn't do much for the year following the dreadful day. Although Estrella once stood at the peak of France, it quickly came tumbling down. Now it was just a guild with a name. Emma believed that there was a reason behind Alicia's downfall and silence. After a long wait, Alicia Blanca finally appeared before the public. Alicia Blanca looked like a completely different person, and she took her guild to the top in no time. She began to appear more frequently than ever before. Emma could see right through her. She was trying to get people's attention so that she could trick them and massacre them. Meanwhile, the suspect of the raid break wasn't often seen in France's gates since that first incident. The suspect sometimes appeared in high-ranking dungeons, but the high-ranked dungeons didn't open often, so his appearances became more and more infrequent. Emma just waited for a high-ranking gate to appear in France. If Alicia participated in the high-ranking dungeon raid, the same events of that day were sure to occur again. Emma used all of her information and resources to find out which raid Alicia would be participating in. She was able to obtain information regarding a A-rank gate Alicia was going to enter. The gate where Alicia would carry out the massacre. The only thing left for Emma was catching Alicia on site and making her pay for the crimes. But the raid Emma had been so looking forward to ended without any issues. Another opportunity like this wouldn't be easy to come by. Emma said she had personal business to attend to and returned to the dungeon Alicia and the Vice Guild Master had remained in. She wasn't sure if she could do it on her own, but it was better than going back having done nothing. Right in front of the entrance, Alicia and the Vice Guild Master were waiting for something. Surprised by Emma's sudden appearance, they weren't able to completely avoid the oncoming attack. Attacks were sent and received, and just as Emma had a hold of Alicia's nape, okay, is that supposed to say neck? Nape? Alright. Something appeared before them. The thing that appeared before them looked like a man in the ice wall from that day. Alicia was finally showing her true colours. At last, that's what Emma thought. But Alicia and the Vice Guild Master's actions weren't what Emma was expecting. As if they'd been waiting, the two of them rushed at the man and attacked wildly. Their movements were fierce and there was a clear will to kill with each attack. They were too serious for this to be for a show. Their attacks showed Emma that she was wrong. Even so, she couldn't back off without knowing the truth about that day. Emma threw her sword in the direction of the man's blind spot. Her sword came close to the man's throat, but changed direction at the last moment and came straight back towards her. Unable to move out of the way of the sudden attack, Emma closed her eyes. She felt a flash of pain somewhere on her body, and soon a long darkness took over her. When Emma opened her eyes, she was in a hospital. She worked through her disorganized thoughts to piece together the relationship between the man and Alicia. She wanted to prove that the hostility she had held on for so long was justified. But the rage Alicia directed towards that man was very similar to her own. Maybe Alicia was a victim that day. Two shadows approached Emma as she was deep in her thought, and they opened the path to a new perspective. They proposed working together to stop the perpetrator as comrades who shared the pain of that day. Emma didn't have the option to decline. She owed them her life, and Alicia had faced and survived that man twice. The person before her was her best chance of catching the perpetrator. Emma gladly accepted the proposal. Well, that is that is very juicy, not to say the least. Okay, well there we go. So it turns out Mattis, the hunter that was within the raid, was Emma's brother. So that's kind of how Emma kind of fits in. It's interesting because the gate was closing, right? So yeah, so because Emma she would have to go through the gate to see everything unfold. So how long does it take for a gate to close? I feel like if you finish with the boss, doesn't the gate just close all like instantly? So that's interesting. But either way, yeah, it does seem that the man that was stuck in the ice wall has gotten out. Obviously, they came face to face with him the second time round. Clearly didn't go as they wanted to, so now he's out and about committing more crimes or more murders, attacking more top guilds. And it seems that now Alicia and Emma have come to an agreement to catch this perpetrator, catch this murderer. It's weird to see that they're killing intent towards this man for her to be like, wait a minute, they're full on attacking him. Because wouldn't she be like, wait, it's happening again? Wait, but then it's the same man that she saw before in the block of ice. So again, that is also a bit of a switch kill in terms of, wait, how are you here when you should be dead already, or in the block of ice? So they're kind of fighting each other again. I don't know. There's a lot of pieces to be filled in here, but I guess from that point of view, Emma just made the jump to attack the guy. But it seems that we've got a very strong evil hunter on our hands. So I'm eager to see when this person gets revealed. Yeah, on their fighting style. So either way, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. That is more lore. This is more of the beginning part of the lore for Solo Leveling Arise with the original story. There is a lot more to be added. There is a lot more to come. So stay tuned. But I just kind of wanted to go through all of this to start off everything, because this is basically the beginning side of the lore for Emma and Alicia. And again, all of this is kicking off, I think, in May? Yes. And there is a 50-50 chance that Alicia might be dropping as a character in like 10 days' time, so bear that in mind.